The dairy industry in Kenya has been and continuously plays an important role not only in the economy but also on the general well-being of the Kenyan population. The sector is vital in poverty alleviation in both rural and urban areas as it contributes to food, nutritional security, and increased household incomes. Kenya's dairy production sector is characterized by a huge number of small-scale farmers who make up 70 to 80% of the total production. Kenya's volume of milk processed per year through the formal channels has grown more than 150% in the decade. The cooperative system contributed significantly to the development of the dairy sector in the country with the emergence of the Kenya Cooperative Creameries. During the 1990s, the Kenyan dairy industry was progressively liberalized, starting with milk price decontrol in 1992. This process led to the gradual collapse of the state-owned Kenya Cooperative Creameries through the 1990s, effectively ending their 60-year monopoly on milk processing and marketing in the lucrative urban areas. This also led to the emergence of privately owned processing plants. One such private processor who has seen the potential in the sector is Meru Highlands Dairy, who are setting up shop in a state-of-the-art milk processing plant in Meru County, just a few kilometers from Isiolo town. The CEO, Mr. Justus Ngo.
The kind of the business that we are identifying is the business which will support the local farmers here in Meru majorly. And we settled on the milk processing factory. Now, the reasons which led to milk processing is because we realized after doing some research that Meru is producing a lot of milk, and much of the milk is going unprocessed. Like now, the capacity which we have for the existing processing factories that are there, there is only one factory that is there, which is processing around 220,000 liters. And the Meru right now is producing about 600,000 liters, which means from the capacity which is there of 220, more than 400,000 liters are not processed. So the unprocessed milk, which is more than 400,000 liters, is the market now which we thought we need now to utilize. And then now we set up this dairy factory. The dairy factory, of course, now we started from last year, and we are launching it in the next 2 weeks. So in the next 2 weeks, we will launch our brand. Our brand name right now, which will be in the shelves, is Lisha Maziwa. Lisha Maziwa will be in all the supermarkets, in all the outlets, and of course now we are asking our friends, our farmers of course, and our other business partners to support us now with the milk hits the market.
According to Mr. Ngo, most dairy farmers in Meru sell their raw milk in the informal sector, leading to huge losses due to contamination and uncontrolled market prices. The processing plant comes as a relief to most dairy farmers in the area that will buy their milk at very competitive prices.
In this, we are starting now with the production of 40,000 liters per day. And in the future, by next year, we want now to expand the factory so that we can start now production of more than 130,000 liters per day. But for our start, we are starting with the 40,000 liters, which we know, of course, now will have some little impact as far as milk production is concerned in Meru. But as we move along, our intention really is to produce also more than 200 and 300,000 liters in the next 4 or 5 years.
The yield per cow and by extension the amount of milk produced in Kenya fluctuates greatly during the year. This is termed to as a seasonal fluctuation. This has a great effect on the processor's ability to absorb all the milk available to them at any time during the year, with a period of surplus followed shortly by that of low milk volumes. The sector therefore has excess capacity during some months in the year that lie idle waiting for the flush period in times of drought. The February and March to May and June months are usually periods of low production. During periods of excess, milk wastage is commonly reported, with farmers experiencing loss of incomes, with the processors sometimes being forced to turn away farmers who deliver their milk to them.
Like now during the rainy season, you see there is a lot of milk which is being supplied by farmers. That one, of course, now the capacity of the players who are there is so much overstretched and they cannot cope with it. So this is one of the reasons why the prices come down. With the many players coming in, it means now the demand for milk will improve. And of course now that one will try to stabilize the market. So we need more processors so that now the milk prices now can stabilize. We know of course there are some seasons now, the regular season in which we are approaching right now, which of course now where there will be the milk supply now will be less again. When the milk is less, again now that's our problem. The processors have nothing to process. And of course now, the prices of the milk shoots. So those fluctuations, they are inevitable in this industry. But we are coming in so that now we can stabilize the prices as much as possible.
The dairy processing industry in Kenya is dominated by a few big processors and a high number of smaller and medium operators. Though the number of licensed dairies is higher, about 40 dairies are actively producing and availing their products through the normal retail channels in a significant manner. Latest figures show that there are 4 big dairies processing above 100,000 liters per day. These dairies include Brookside, New KCC, Samia Agriculture and Livestock, and the Dongori Dairy Cooperative Society. The dairy sector in Kenya is increasingly moving towards consolidation, with Brookside Dairy leading the way with several buyouts in the last few years. The push towards consolidation is led by the increasing need for processors to own the process of milk sourcing from the farm to the factory and the challenge of procuring, distributing and accessing retail space in the major outlets. It should also be mentioned that the dairy sector is progressively becoming a heavy investment industry, with smaller players getting crowded out by the bigger players who have access to internal and external sources of funds. According to Justus, competition in this industry is healthy and important in stabilizing prices of milk, especially to cater for the small-scale dairy farmer.
Well, we have invested close to 200 million. And of course now, as we expand the factory, we know we will require more funding. The banks have been with us, they have really supported us, and they are with us even now as we intend to up the production by next year. The banks are there to support us, and we know by end of next year, the production will hit 150,000 liters per day.
This 200 million Kenya shilling investment by Meru Highlands Dairy is no mean feat, entering into a market that is dominated by big names. Our projection is that the sector will, in the next 5 years, erect barriers that new entrants will find hard to crack, and which will lead to more of the medium players being bought out as the sector consolidates further. There is also the lacking possibility of 1 or 2 international brands coming into the sector through a buyout of existing dairies to tap into the East African markets. Mr. Ngo doesn't seem perturbed by this as he explains to us the milk processing procedure.
Like now, of course, now the milk reception is that side. When the milk is received from there, it will be pasteurized here, this side here. Then after pasteurizing, you store them in these tanks here. Then now, after the process of pasteurizing, then now the pasteurized milk now will be here. From here now, you can even take the processed milk here, but from here, it will be the milk for 1 or 2 days. But now our intention is to produce UHT milk for 90 days. So which means now, everything will be transferred to this side. It will be pasteurized again here, and then now we produce UHT milk this side. This milk now will last for some 90 days in the shelves, and this is what now we intend to take to the market. Our intention is not to sell fresh milk, is to sell the UHT which will last 90 days. In the future, of course, now we are intending to go to yogurt. Yogurt is the other line which we want to start by next year. Then after 2 years or so, then now we will go to cream and cheese. Those are the products now which we want to measure in.